Okay, we're back down the match. Players have got their hands. We can see a 6 versus 7. Remember, we got the giveaway, so we're gonna, if you manage to win that giveaway, which the new is literally about to pick the winner of. If you have won, make sure you DM him on either Twitter or on Twitch, and we'll give you those free codes, courtesy of Daybreak Games. Remember, there'll be some more giveaways happening on later on, so you need to stick around on both channels if you want to give yourself the best possible chance to get, a free drafty on Daybreak. Why wouldn't you want that? Looks like
I'm going to
Mason
scream,
is
Will.
on the
I'm
plate.
sorry you're taking too long, but he's got the force of vigor. Let's go. I couldn't hold it in. Oh, my God.
It's not going to be as relevant here as you think. We were saying that obviously if he has the Urza's Saga into Amulet, turn 1 would be absolutely backbreaking. And Kanister knows he's going to get got by it as well. He was saying it in between in his coverage.
Dude, this is so funny. Like, literally from the beginning of the broadcast, since deck lists were posted, I was like, Mason's like, all right, it's going to be so funny. It's going to be so funny. It's going to be, and there's a Dryad and an Urza Saga. So I think Mason is literally going to get to live the dream.
It's going to be a good turn, turn 2 here. Get ready to get the oofs going in chat. Here
oh
it comes.
My goodness.
Here's the Saga. No extra land drop. Mason can't click it quick enough.
And there's 3 Primeval Titans left in the hand here. Mason, you just know that Mason's like, Mason's eating some beans tonight. You know what I mean?
The thing is, like, we can see Canister's face on camera and we can see his reaction to that. And he was just like, I knew it was coming. I knew it. It is what it is. So now he's missing lands. He has got triple Titan in hand. Oh, it's gonna be a very uphill battle. But you know what I mean? If anybody can get out of this, it's gonna be Canister, and this is gonna be on this deck.
Yeah, there's really only one way to go about this. I mean, it's going to end pretty violently for one player or the other. If Kanister actually gets to that 6 mana, it's going to be turn after turn after turn of just like, I mean, okay, it's probably going to be one singular turn where 3 Primeval Titans all come down. But so the impetus is going to be here on Mason to just close out as fast as possible.
Yeah, I guess Mason's gonna have to find Solitude to be really good here because the Leyline Binding is going to fill with the first Titan, but that's going to already pit those on the battlefield or the extra lands, which means we're going to just start chaining off these Primeval Titans. If Mason keeps just drawing land like this, it's going to be pretty rough for him. But remember, when that Leyline's Binding does come down, he will draw himself an extra 2 cards, being very patient with it. You notice, he could fire it off now and potentially just get the Monograzer and draw 2 cards, but he knows that there's a good chance the Titan's going to be coming down in the next round or 2.
Okay, well, I guess this Vesuva is going to come into play as a copy of the Celestine Extinction. So now, yeah, I mean, Kanister is going to be asking the question next turn. If Kanister wins this game after having tanked the main deck Force of Vigor, I am going to absolutely lose it. That's going to be so funny.
Dude, have you seen this deck? This deck is so powerful when it goes off. It's so explosive. And I always say, I think the reason that Titan doesn't put up the results that it probably should is because it's so hard to pilot. If you get people that really dedicate their craft to this, like we see, like Dom Hari is obviously one of the names that sticks out for this. Canis is definitely one of the names that sticks out. This deck is so powerful. And here comes the first Primeval Titan. Mason's gripping onto that line by an all for the game, being super patient with it. He's going to get to draw 3 cards this turn, as well as getting the first Titan off the board. Here comes a couple of bounce lands.
Yeah. Now, what's really interesting here is that unfortunately, without Amulet in play, we don't really have a way to actually end the game this turn. You could see Kanister going for the bounce lands as a sign of, next turn, we're going to do some pretty incredible things. This is definitely a setup Primeval Titan. And I mean, this is exactly what Mason needs to make it to the next draw step.
Yeah, well, this is the sort of game. This is why we have Cultivator Colossus in the deck, right? This is literally the matchup for it. I'm going to go get that. I'm going to put it on the battlefield. Not only have a huge threat, yeah, you're probably going to be able to deal with it, but I'm going to be able to draw a bunch of cards, make a load of land drops. And remember, if we manage to get the Dryad Arbor down, not Dryad Arbor down, the Dryad of Elysium Grove down, then with the Valakut, that'd be a lot of damage going to the face. Are we seeing a hard cast birds here?
All right, I'm just gonna. This is
on the bingo list.
Yeah, seriously, right? Like, this is the first time and the last time anybody will ever see this happen. Eagles of the North actually being relevantly good.
Yeah, fair one. It also means that we can't chump block either. It means it's just going to be get to throw underneath the bus. Mason's just ticking all of the. Anyone's got a bingo card? He's like Force of Vigor main deck, check. Play Birds hard cast, check. That is still a free fly that boosts your team that drew 3 cards, remember? And with that Time Walk in hand, potentially could end up finishing the game in a turn or two. But here's Cultivator Colossus off the top. Those not to go that route, we're going to play this Primeval Titan first, get a bit more mana to the battlefield. Now, this is where it gets hard, right? I'm going to ask you, what does he go and get? And you're going to be, I have no idea.
Yeah, I really do have no idea, but it looks like he's answering the question for us here. There's a Boros Garrison and a copy of Boseiju, and I really like this because now you can unlock the first Primeval Titan that was Leyline Binding away much earlier, and also being able to do it at instant speed is pretty heads up.
Yeah, that's you can. It's just, this is why we watch the Super League, right? This is why we watch all these great players. It's for these small lines which you don't think of when you're watching, or if you haven't picked up the deck before. When you like, anybody can win with a Titan deck. It's easy when you go turn 1 Amulet, turn 2 play a Dryad, turn 3 play a Titan, give it double strike hate. Like, they're the easy parts of this deck. It's this small, detailed, complicated plays that we're seeing here from Kanister of how he can get back into this match. But
yeah,
it looks like Mason might just want to take another turn.
If you notice that, yeah, I think maybe he was just retapping his mana, but I am not 100% sure if this Time Warp is even like the best Time Warp. One thing that I'm suddenly being alarmed of now, so we have 30 cards left in deck. So obviously the issue of decking is something that I'm nervous about, but we need a way to close the game, because I think if this game goes on longer and longer, it's suddenly going to start favoring Canister, which is kind of weird, given like the fact that Mason's going to be drawing his entire deck. But in this scenario, like when you think about like what final play is going to be just larger, like, who has the inevitability? I think it's the deck that's got all the hasty Primeval Titans and the Cultivated Colossuses. Now, what is Mason's out in this scenario? Maybe it's something super strange like, ooh, I love this play, by the way. Like 4 copies of Solitude or something.
Oh, okay, that's nice as well. Drew the Leyline's Binding. So when this Boseiju does take out the Leyline's Binding on the battlefield and we get back our Titan, we're able to not Solitude, that Leyline's Binding, that one back underneath. Do we get the ETB trigger though? So we get to get 2 more lands, potentially bounce lands, potentially more Boseijus. How many Boseijus is he playing in the main this week? Let's have a little look. Let's get that deck list up. It is
at least 1.
2.
2
2 in the main and 1 more in the sideboard. So quite interesting.
Now, what's pretty apparent here, we do see the blue mana open, we do see the white mana open. So Kanister, being the intelligent fellow that he is probably very, very keenly aware of the fact that this is not like a renegade attack. There's going to be an answer here, and there it is, the Leyline Binding. So he did pick up another copy of Boseiju as a heads up play for that, and now is probably going to be looking to play a longer, more extended game over the course of the next 2-3 turns. Probably well, actually, I don't know. 1, 2, 3.
I'm not sure if they're going to have 2 or 3 turns. I think, like, basically this Solitude is huge. That's the card that no, because we had Time Walk. Yeah, it's just game. Yeah, it's just
2,
game.
3, 3. Oh,
that's 10 power. Easy.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, Mason. I mean, I guess just maybe if you do draw your entire deck, it just doesn't matter. You can just kill with these wibbly beats. The ice tapping the creature. Yeah, this is fantastic, honestly.
We're just flexing here. We're just like, yep, BBE's back. Love it. Love to see it. Reed's going to be happy. Here comes a big swing for lethal, and that's going to be game 1 to Mason Clark.
Wow. Okay. All right. I mean, obviously, main deck Force of Vigor, MVP. Like, it's actually just insane how good that is.
It actually was really good, which is the worst bit about it. It's like, it actually was really good in that match.
Yeah.
We get a little look here, how they're sideboarding, what they're bringing in and what they're bringing out. Mason bringing out some beans. Looks like he is taking the beans out.
So this is kind of interesting. I did speak earlier to Mason about this, the card Inevitable Betrayal and how that operates. And it looks like Mason thinks that this card is good enough in this matchup. I'm a little bit torn on it because, I mean, obviously, like, you can get their Primeval Titans. I'm assuming this card works almost exactly like Bribery, right? That you just get to cascade into. Okay, cool. But I really don't like cutting up the beanstalks because, I mean, that is really what drives your deck. And that is what lets you power through multiple copies of Primeval Titan. Like we saw, like, I mean, that's kind of why I think, generally Amulet Titan is able to put up a fight against these 4-color decks, is because Primeval Titan just generates so much value. It cascades into another Primeval Titan, which, not literal cascade, but, whatever, generates value into another Titan, into another Titan, into another Titan, and at some point, the 4-color deck isn't able to keep up. Now, with multiple copies of Up the Beanstalk in play, the mathematics on that completely change. So I'd like to see that we're not just, all inning on this inevitable betrayal, which, by the way, like, it's not even like taking a single Primeval Titan in this matchup is like really just not it. I almost wonder if you even want any copies. So we'll see how this pans out for Mason going into the second game.
Yeah, let's have a little look, see how it's going to go. Remember, so Caroline is obviously, she's a little bit ill this evening, so that is why we've got me and Anu doing commentary, and both of these two opening hands. One land, well, I suppose it's a 2-lander, right? It looks like a 1-lander, but it is a 2-lander, especially against a non-Forces deck. Down on Canister's side, looks like we're setting up for like a mid-range game. Double ring in hand, not ideal, but would have potentially saved him a turn last game. No turn 1 accelerant. I've played a little bit of Titan, nowhere near as much as what the Mason and Kanister play. I've played a little bit of it, but I do watch some popular streamers on it. I'm pretty sure we will see him mulligan this hand. Don't think it's going to be explosive enough.
Oh,
but
wow.
What do I know? What do I know?
Wow.
Is basically, what do I know, ladies and gentlemen? That is why.
Will, you looking mad dumb right now. The master of Amulet Titan says, no, I can win with anything here. This hand, honestly, to me, like, I personally would snap mulligan here, but yeah, I guess.
Also, by the way, 63 cards in Kanister's deck that he put after sideboard. Just throwing that one out there.
Interesting observation. Okay, wait. So I guess the plan here is to just like walk up slowly and down smash. I mean, we have 2 copies of the One Ring.
My question is, does the One Ring outgrind the bean? Because that's what this hand's telling me. Is like, if he believes he's kind of all in on this on the ring, I'll be able to draw more cards and kind of do more stuff than you'll be able to if you have the bean down in your solitudes, etc. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I think what I've learned is that the first copy of the ring can beat a single copy of Up the Beanstalk. The second copy of Up the Beanstalk is like parity. You start to overperform the One Ring, and then the third copy of Up the Beanstalk, you're just like, you're going way harder and faster than the One Ring ever could.
Leyland's Binding is going to come down end of the turn. It's going to get that Dryad off the battlefield. Here comes third land. Obviously, this Commandeer might be pretty spicy at some point in this matchup, along with a couple with double solitudes. Mason just wants to be hitting his land drops. Obviously, he's got one more to go if he decides to land cycle or island cycle end of turn. Kanister here. We're just going to throw the One Ring down.
Yeah, big problems here though.
So, okay, this is it. I say it's a good talking point, but it's not really. I say we're ditching our land to be able to get this One Ring, but the One Ring is probably going to find us more land. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I think this is incredible. Commandeer is a card that's sort of like picked up as a sort of counter spell of sorts that you can play through the Cascade requirements. And kind of just like, it's especially insane in the mirrors where you can like maybe take your opponent's beanstalks or like whatever value spells. Here, taking the One Ring is absolutely insane, right? Like just game ending insane.
Well, yeah, because basically in your opponent's turn, you get to draw a card. Then you untap and get to draw 2 more, as we see here. Now we're able to hit our land drops. We also have Awakened to Cascade and find the bean or a Commandeer, not a Commandeer, the bribery card.
Yeah. And I like this play here by Mason saying like, look, I could Cascade into a bean here if I wanted to, but it's more important to keep you off Titan. And also I would say, potentially the One Ring, but looks like we'll have sufficient mana sources to cast this One Ring.
Yeah. I am behind on cards, especially card value moving forward. Rings on both sides, we're going to draw. What's the odds on that the ring actually ends up killing one of these 2 players?
For Mason, -0, and then for Kanister, even less of a chance, because usually you'll be killing your opponent with all the card. Like, remember, like I think earlier Mason even mentioned a great point, which is like, Amulet Titan really does. It's a deck that really can leverage critical mass very, very well because it generates so much mana. Is very good at generating mana. So generally speaking, I would never. I mean, once you have that critical mass, you're obviously alive, and then you'll be able to convert it very easily. The reason Mason won't die, I mean, it's in play already, right? Omnath.
It helps. Gaining 4 turn helps, I heard, in Magic the Gathering, especially when you're only taking 3 or 2 a turn. Here comes Leon's buying to answer the ring on the other side of the battlefield. This must be a bad matchup for Titan. It seems so harsh. Everything lines up so well.
Yeah, I think like what I was mentioning earlier is like against regular 4-color, you just generate that value off the ring and amulet. Sorry, Primeval Titan. But here, I mean, honestly, even though there isn't up to Beanstalk in play, in theory, that's the card that really breaks this matchup. Here, just getting your One Ring stolen is very, very flavorful. Firstly, but that's the litmus, right? Is like if the 4-color deck is able to generate ridiculous amounts of advantage, they can keep up. They can keep up and then pull ahead.
Colossus is going to be a good way of trying to generate that value. Because remember, the triggers go on the stack, even if we do manage to solitude it here. This is one of the weird lines of interaction of this card, I believe. So doing it now just so he gains less life than he originally would. But all these triggers do happen. So we're going to keep hitting lands on the battlefield, keep drawing them.
Okay.
Okay, a lot of triggers and another Colossus in hand. So we're trying to kind of do the same next turn. Seiji goes to the graveyard because there's 2 of them on the battlefield. Remember, that is a legendary card. This one gets bounced back to hand. So potentially we can get back the ring if we need to. Unfortunately, no amulet on the battlefield, so we can't generate tons of value this turn or mana. But what can we do on the other side? That betrayal is on suspend. Hard cast on suspend from Momnath and the mana that he generated.
I'm not gonna lie, that is kind of just funny. We bordered in the inevitable trail, and it's just like slowly ticking down here. I mean, okay, I'll be honest with you. Like, if there was a way for Kanister to come back into this game that just seems so hopeless, this was it, right? Now Mason has to draw 4 pretty good cards here off of the One Ring, and he whiffs. Okay, wait a minute, plot twist.
Well, no, because this is going to go find one of the beans. This is going to go into play. So now with the Solitude in hand, that will deal with the first creature. We'll be able to at least draw another card off that. We still got the Omnaths if you really want to cast them just for the ETB draw card trigger. But we're going multiple beans. We're going Value Town now. All the way to Value Town.
Yeah, the Beans, finding another copy of Beans in Shardless Agent was actually a huge pickup here. Now the Solitude can draw a couple cards here, maybe answer the second, find an answer for the second Amulet, Primeval Titan, or Cultivator Colossus, or whatever comes down. I guess keeping in mind here that there is a Summoner's Pact trigger on the stack on the upkeep here, so maybe Mason's not dead here.
I'm not a fan of the rule that you can't miss that, by the way. I really don't like that ruling.
Interesting.
That's for another time, another conversation.
Well, okay, hold up. So
do we have triple green? We do not, right? We don't have triple green this turn unless we get Dryad down, Stride, Float Blue, 1, 2, Dryad, 3. No, I don't think we're going to have that super explosive turn, mainly because there's a Force of Vigor on the other side, which can be hard cast, by the way. We're going to go Dryad. It's a logical line that Dryad. No, we're going to try and copy it. And I like this. So we're copying it with it on the stack, so because in response we can copy it again if needs be. Here comes the Force of Vigor. 1 mana floating, so we will be able to copy it one more time. But turns out that is not going to be enough, and we're just scooping up. Kanister got again by a Force of Vigor. He said earlier on in the stream that that's probably the card is going to get him. He was kind of worried about that being the card in the main, and it got him. It just got him straight up. Too much for Kanister to handle. Force of Vigor, OP, ladies and gentlemen.